Hello everyone, so this is the week 1 tutorial for MA171 finite math. Just a quick reminder that on my math lab, when you take the quiz, you're not going to get the exact same questions, but you should be getting the same type of questions. But for example, the numbers in the data will be different for everyone. So here on this first question, we have this data set of number of car loadings from across years, from 1940 all the way to 2000 in 10-year increments. So which one of these graphs represent this data? So you can approach this by looking at where the data starts. So it starts with 1940. And the value in 1940 is 36.9. So you look at this graph, 1940, it should start at 36.9. So you see this mark is 35, so it's slightly above 35, which looks right. In the other two options, you see that the data point for 1940 starts actually like below 20. It's clearly visible, which is wrong. So automatically, you know from the first data that it's A. You can also check, you can check all of these, but just to do a check, you can also look at the last one. In 2000, the data should end with 16.4. So 2000 is here, 16.4. So that's slightly above 15, as you can see, which is correct. So the answer would be A. In number 2, we're given a number of categories around greenhouse gases and the percentages associated with each type. So the question is, find, when you put all this data in a pie graph, what is the angle that represents each part of the pie? So for example, for halocarbons, the percentage is 19%. And remember, in a pie graph, the entire angle is 360 degrees. So whatever the percentage is, you multiply that with 360 and get the corresponding angle. So let me do that with a calculator. So again, 360 is the entire angle multiplied by, for halocarbon, it's 19%, so you're going to multiply this by 0.19, which is equal to 68.4. So that's how you calculate this. Let me also do the next one for methane, and that's 16%. So again, 360, the entire angle, multiplied by 16%. You can either do 0.16, or you can just hit 16 and hit percent. So that's the same thing. So the answer would be 57.6 for methane. And you can do the exact same thing for the others. Nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide. Just multiply their given percentages with 360. And then which pie chart represents this data? By looking at the corresponding angles, it's obvious that carbon dioxide has the largest amount, like more than 200 degrees, which should take up more than half the pie. Because half the pie is 180 degrees, so this is 223. Carbon dioxide is yellow, so in which of these the yellow portion of the pie chart takes up more than half? Well, there's only one choice like that, which is A. See, all of the others, this is like less than a quarter, this is so small, this is also less than a quarter. So obviously the right choice is A. Next question, finding the mean of the data set. So many of you answered similar questions correctly on the discussion board. So finding the mean is fairly simple. all you have to do is add up all the numbers in the given data sets and then divide that, the sum, by the number of data in the set. So here you're going to do 5, so let me do this on count. 5 plus -8, sorry I messed up. So 5 plus -8, I guess that's the other way, 5 plus 8 negative, yeah, you hit 8 and then negative, plus 9 is negative, plus another 5, plus 9. So these are all the numbers, and they add up to 2. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in the set, so 2, the sum, should be divided by 5, which gives you 0.4. Alright, next question. Alright, so in number 4, we're being asked to find the mean, median, and mode of this of these numbers given in this data set. So I put all these numbers in Excel, and I actually put them in ascending order from least to greatest, as you can see, and that's going to help us with median, and also to see the mode. So let's do the mean first, and so you can also use Excel and Excel formulas to easily calculate like mean without using an actual calculator. So here you can actually type just average. So there's an average formula in Excel, and if you just include all of these cells, all of these numbers, it automatically calculates. I mistyped average, which is why it didn't calculate. See, the average is calculated. It is 14 points, so I guess we need to round to 2 decimal places. So you can do that here. See, 14.53 is the mean. So you can simply add them up, and there's 8 of them, so whatever the sum, actually Excel also gives you the sum down here. It's 116.2 divided by 8, that's going to give you 14.53. So that's mean, and the median is, remember, median is the center of the data. Since we have 8 numbers, you have 3 here from the beginning, 3 here from the end, so your number 4 and 5, so these two, because the middle of your data is like right here, so it's not one particular data, but it's the middle of these two. So that's why for median, when you end up with 2 numbers in the middle, you need to take their average. So what is the average of 10.8 and 12.8? You just simply add them up and divide by 2. Or just like I did with the mean calculation, you can just take the average of the 2 middle numbers, and that's 11.8 for the median. And the mode is, remember, mode is the number that repeats most frequently, and there's only one repeating number here, which is 10.8, so that makes it the mode. So that's number 4. Alright, next question. So in number 5, we're being asked to find the standard deviation of a grouped sample data. So this isn't too hard, but it's kind of cumbersome, and it might take a bit of time, and I didn't want to take too much time in the video, so I put all the data and the calculations here on Excel, and I'll walk you through it. So when you get this question, you need to do it this way. So here you can see the interval and the frequency, which is the exact same table that's given. So when you have an interval, we need to find the midpoint of that interval. So you need to create a midpoint column, and the midpoint is literally the middle of this interval. So 0.5 and 3.5, the middle of this interval is 2. And how do you find that? You actually add the beginning number in the interval and the ending number, and then divide by 2. So it's 3.5 plus 0.5, which is 4, divided by 2 is 2. And you do that with all of the lines. 6.5 plus 3.5, which is 10, divided by 2 is 5, so the midpoint is 5. And you do the same, so you get these midpoints 8 and 11. So these are the midpoints, these are the frequencies. And the sum of the frequencies would give us n, the number of data points in the set. So now the next thing we need to do is frequency times the midpoints. So we literally just multiply these two columns. So 14, notice it's C4 times D4. So we're multiplying 7 and 2, which is 14. And then 5 and 5, which is 25. 4 times 8, 32. 5 times 11, 55. So that's frequency multiplied by midpoint. And then the next thing we need to do is figure out the mean of this data sets. And the mean is the sum of this column, frequency times midpoints, which is 126, divided by the number of data in the sets, which is 21. So 126 divided by 21 gives you 6, and that is the mean. So why do we need the mean? Because next thing we need to do is we need to calculate the midpoint minus the mean and then take its square to figure out how far away from the mean each data set is, each data is. So here we do 2 minus 6 squared, which gives you negative 4 squared, and that's 16. And then here 5 minus 6 squared, that's 1. 8 minus 6 is 2, squared is 4. 11 minus 6 is 5, squared is 25. And you can again use the Excel formula. Make sure you put in parentheses, subtract this from that, and then it doesn't matter which one you put first in the subtraction, because in the end we're taking the square here. See, this one minus that one to the power 2. And then we do the same thing with all of them, and that's m minus u squared. And then the next thing we need is this column being multiplied by the frequency. So the frequency needs to multiply the square of m minus u. So again, the C column is multiplied by F column, and we write that here. 7 times 16, 5 times 1, 4 times 4, 5 times 25. So that's F times m minus u squared. And the sum of this column is 258. Now the standard deviation is, we need to divide the sum of this f times m minus u squared by the sum of frequencies minus 1. So it needs to be n minus 1. N is 21, n minus 1 is 20. So 258 divided by 20, so that's G8, 258 divided by C8 minus 1, which is 20. So you got to be careful when typing if you want to use the formulas, because C8 minus 1 needs to be in parentheses. Otherwise it'll divide by 21 first and then subtract 1, which is going to be wrong. And then once you divide this sum by the n minus 1, you need to take the square root of that outcome. So that's why this whole thing is inside another parentheses. And that's going to give you the standard deviation as 3.59. So that's number 5. Number 6, find the mean. So finding the mean, so I'm not going to calculate this, but you can either use a calculator and just type in each of these numbers. There's like 4, 6, 12 numbers. Type in each one of them, add them up, and divide by 12. Or you can just type them in Excel, take the sum automatically and divide by 12, or take the average. And then the standard deviation, you can use the formula for standard deviation to calculate that as well. You're going to need to find the mean, subtract each data